I've been hearing a lot on the news recently about real estate auctions. Well, what are they?
Well, I'm actually hearing two things really. Like the question is there are auctions, just like a regular auction that you'd think of, like when they're selling art, going once, going twice. There's that sort of auction, and then there's what they're calling opening up the bidding process. Now, from what I've been able to read, what they're talking about, especially on the Ontario Real Estate Association website, is opening up the bidding process. And what they mean by that is, well, let me backtrack a little bit. How it's been working, or how what people have been doing is that you submit a bid, and if there's multiple bids, if there's a bidding war, everybody puts in their bid, then people come back to them, the agents come back to them, and they just say, can you improve your bid? And you don't know where you are. Are you like the third guy, or are you like ahead by like $100,000? And could you be bidding against yourself? And the truth of the matter is that you could be. What they're suggesting is that instead of having that situation, is that they're allowing, and here's the key though, it's like at the seller's discretion. So it's the seller who's going to determine whether the process will be open and whether they are able to disclose what is the content of the other competing bids. And I guess that's really been the issue.
Where does this come from? The need for this?
I don't know if the word is need, but I do understand what you're saying, that the want of this. For the last long while, it's been crappy for buyers, and I'll be the first guy to admit it. Not that I have to admit it, but like everybody knows that. Like, I guess the buyers are worried that this is what has really driven the market, is that people are bidding blindly and they don't like it. And I get that, actually. Like, it's hard. Just like I said before, like, you don't know, like, you the best bid already and you're bidding against yourself or not. And is it driving prices? I guess the problem really is there is no perfect system. Like, the government's stepping in now after all these years, and it's been going on for 15 years already at least. These bidding wars, if not longer. But they're trying to step in now and appease everybody, and the problem is that they can't. Is that you have competing competing interests is what you have. You have the sellers who want to get the most money. You have buyers who, not that they want to pay the least money, but they don't want to pay $50,000 more than the last bid or $100,000 more than the last bid, and they don't know where they stand. And I understand that, but I just don't know if there's a perfect system where you can make everybody happy, right? Like, look, if you're going to be a seller at one point and you're going to want the most money for your house, right? As a buyer, because if you're going to be a seller, you're going to buy something, well, then you're going to want to pay the least money. So how are you going to get the same system where it's working in tandem, where you can get the most and the least?
Well, putting it at the discretion of the seller, what seller would want to disclose what the bids are?
Well, again, this is where it gets dicey too, because, look, put it this way. If I'm a seller and I have an offer that's like $50,000 or $100,000 above everybody else, I'm not going to say anything, because why would I? Having said that, if the offers are close, then I guess you can disclose the other, what the other bids are, and then bid up, and it'll bid up. Like, you got to be careful what you wish for, because while I think buyers think that, well, if I know what the other bids are, at least I have a better chance, and then maybe you do. But I don't see how that will keep prices down, because if anything, I can see them getting caught up. You know how many times I've had, my buyer, they weren't successful? I always tell them, like, look, put your best foot forward. They say, oh yes, that's my best foot, that's it. And then it sells, and then they go, oh my God, I would have paid that price. And it could have been $30,000 or $40,000 more. So, I think what's happening is that they're running the risk of getting caught up in that too. Like, can't you see that? Like, can't you see them get caught up? It's just like, that someone's at $1 million and you don't want to go over that, but you want this house, you're excited, there's the heat of the moment. Like, if it's an art auction and you're the Sultan of Brunei, you don't care if you're paying $5 million more than the next guy, because he's got the money, but do you? And again, it also gets really dicey as well. Like, what do you reveal as far as the contents of the offer. Like, do you reel the money? Is it just the money? You know, like, and money isn't everything either. You know, what happens if there could be an offer at $1 million, but he has like 3 conditions in there, and then there's someone who's at $990,000 with no conditions? I would say the majority of the time, someone's going to take less money. But again, like, what is it that gets revealed?
Well, do you think the auction system like they have in Australia, a true auction, is more equitable?
Again, I don't know. I've actually watched YouTube videos online of an actual auction in Australia. They've had problems with that too, because what happened in Australia was that they were placing, you know, fake bidders in there. Just like everybody was worried now that, you know, are there really all these offers? What the Ontario government, to their credit, put in place is that they said, look, we're going to have to document everybody who puts in an offer. Right now what's happening is that you know how many offers are being submitted. You don't know what the contents of it, but you know how many offers are being submitted. And if someone really has a complaint, they can call the registrar, and they can literally walk in anytime to a real estate office and say, hey, open this file and let's see, was there really 10 offers? Or if there was only 2, was there really 2 offers? You know, they were having problems in Australia with how do you sort of prove that some guy that you planted in an auction was in fact that, because he's like there and then he's gone. So there was that issue. Also in Ontario, what I've read too is that there are loopholes. Like, I think somewhere in the 50s, they allowed auction houses to help farmers when they were selling their livestock and their equipment, also help them sell their properties as well. That loophole here hasn't been closed. I guess you can still do that, but the problem is it is completely unregulated. You know, they don't have insurance just like a real estate agent has. There's really no accountability, and I think that that's problematic. So you might think that, oh, the auction is the way to go, but how open and transparent and really good is it?
Right, so what the government is proposing now, it doesn't go far enough, it goes too far, what do you think?
I don't know if there's really any right answer. I think what's happening is that people are tired of the existing system. And like I said, I get that. I don't know. It's pretty good on one hand, but it's imperfect. But I think all systems are imperfect. And I'm not shilling to keep the same thing. If there is something better, then okay. And I'm willing to roll with the punches, so to speak. I think what's going to happen is they're going to try and implement something, and people will be, you know, it'll morph into what it's supposed to be. Will it be good or bad? I don't know. I guess people are always afraid of the unknown, and I guess as a real estate industry as a whole, are we all like shaking in our boots because it was like, oh my God, they're like changing our whole system like it was so good before. It's just people aren't used to change. Are we going to have to change? We may have to. Like, you know, this is what's happening in the world lately, that everything gets shaken up. I'm trying to think of the word. You know, is it a paradigm shift, or is it, you know, like shake something up? And I guess that's possibly what has to happen with the real estate world. I guess really time will tell.
Well, that's great information. Thanks, Sean.
All right.